Oh my gosh. I don't know why my water tastes better in this brown jar. I don't know why, but I'm not here to talk about my water. I'm here to talk about Theo of Golden by Alan Levy and the hype that has surrounded this book and whether or not the hype is worth it. So let's get to it. Okay, so where do I begin? Let me just begin with introducing myself. Hello, hi everyone. My name is Chantel Levon. For those of y'all who've been with me before, welcome back. And if you're new here, a big welcome. Thanks for joining me. Here I talk about all things books, and today I'm talking about my experience really reading Theo of Golden by Alan Levy. So I just finished this book. Maybe it's been about 2 weeks now, or a little bit close to 2 weeks. I had a book club conversation about it last night, and I really wanted to kind of like hold off, until I had that conversation. I was interested in how people received the book and wanted to just, sit within the group and soak up different experiences so that I can kind of weigh it with my own. And so that was really helpful before I shared my thoughts with you all. But before I get into that, I just want to provide a very brief summary of Theo of Golden. This book is actually a New York Times bestseller, which is pretty remarkable because this was a self-published book that started off as a project for the author, and it just became something bigger than what he imagined. And oftentimes that happens, right, when creators are creating, and we now have it in our hands, and it's been around the world. It's been talked about. I'm actually late to the Theo of Golden party, you guys, but late is never late, right? In book world, late is just right on time. So this book is about Theo, who is an old man when we meet him, and he has made his way to a very small town called Golden. And Theo has a lot of mystery about him. We don't know a lot about him, but there are these little lines here and there that lets us know that there is a story underneath the story of this man. And when he gets to the town, he goes to a cafe, and there are 92 pictures framed on the wall, and they're for sale. And he finds one, and it captures him. And he has this grand idea to buy the painting and to gift it to the person whose picture it is in the painting. And thus he sets up these dates where he, meets a person at this bench near a fountain, and he gifts them their picture of themselves. Many of these people know that their portrait is hanging in a cafe. Some can't buy it. Some never thought to buy it. There's a story behind each one, but that is how we enter into the story. That's how we meet Theo, and that's how we begin our grand time in Golden. Now, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm not going to tell you like what happens in the story for those of you all who have not read it and maybe you want to read it. But I did want to talk to you about like how this book left me, and how and also some other commentary that comes along with this book. So I actually would say that when I bought Theo of Golden, I didn't know anything about it. Somehow the hype mania around this book, it went over me. I had no idea. I bought this book because I saw it. Somebody was talking about it, and I didn't catch the whole video because I had to like rush out of the house. But I heard this man say that this was one of the best books that he read. And that's it, because I couldn't finish the video. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all I need to hear. And I clicked it and I bought it because I like really the title, and I like the way that it looks. And I can be shallow a little bit like that when it comes to book covers. Thank you, artists and illustrators, for the work that you put in here, designers, to create covers for people like me that are moved by how a book looks. Okay, I just wanted to say that. So again, I didn't have all of this pre-knowledge coming into this book, and I'm actually glad that I did not. So I bought the book, it sat on my shelf. I didn't even like look at it or investigate it when it came in, because I have books coming in all the time. It's a little bit of a problem. It's just this keeps growing, and we're gonna have to solve the situation behind me, because what you don't see is there are books actually that are also on the floor, and there are books on the other side of this. It's just everywhere. But I digress. Let's get back to it. So it wasn't until my book club, I joined another book club, an in-person book club, and that my sister runs with her friends. So shout out to Cherie and Kirsten. Thank you. And we decided in that book club to do this book. And I was like, oh, yay, Theo of Golden. Great. I already have this book. And I felt really jazzed about that. But again, I had no idea what it's about. I started reading this the way that I read every book. I like dive right on in there into books. And I'm a bit of a fast reader. And so I was approaching the book in that way. And something happened to me maybe around, I don't know what chapter it was, you guys, I'm not going to lie, but once I got into it, something happened to me where this book slowed me down. And it was like, no, Chantel, you're actually not going to read like that. This is a different invitation. And that's what Theo of Golden is about. It's so invitational. At its core, this is a story about kindness. But it is a story that allows you, as you read, to not only witness kindness on display, but to actually be kind to yourself as you're reading, if you allow it. I was very much aware of the literary and analyst in my brain. The things where I was aware of pacing, and I was aware of repetition, and I was aware of what I would call pretty much overt symbolisms. And I had to make a conscious choice to turn that part off. That was not, I think, what this book is inviting the reader into. And I think that that's the real trapping of this book. This is an easy read. There is nothing complicated about this. Everything is right there. The symbolisms and metaphors are glaring in your face right there. There's lots of Christian symbolisms, a chalice, a Christ figure. It's all right there. So you don't have to work hard to get it. And it also moves at a very consistent, slow tempo. So it goes on. It moves slowly throughout the whole thing. That's another thing. It's not, it's smart, but it's not witty. It's deep, but it's not deep. You know what I mean? It's this book and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And I think that when I've read some comments for people who put this book in kind of like a negative or kind of a list, or a list where they didn't see the value in it or they struggled with it, those were the trending comments that I saw around it. That it was slow and that it was like so in your face. It was too easy. It was the word that was most used is simple. But simple isn't always bad, right? Sometimes simple is simple for a purpose. And so as I was running into that myself, as I was reading it, I was like, wait a minute, Chantel, hold up. Why don't we submit to this, make that choice? Because maybe there's a lesson in the simplicity. And I'm so glad I did. Theo of Golden is a book that I think will stay in my heart and my mind for a long time. I hope to always remember Theo and to be encouraged by the way that this character chose to live his life, which is through being with people, sitting with people, seeing people, encouraging people, making sacrifices. I think the thing that I was most moved by was just the very ordinary, practical way. It was both a fiction and instruction at the same time that was so wonderfully packaged and put together. I think the things that, might have, I might have changed or made suggestions about if I was like that editor, far, 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 is far less than the actual gift in this book. And it made me think about like how cynical and skeptical we are, where it's hard for us to just receive a good, simple story. And it kind of reminded me of childhood when we had those good and simple stories that were read to us and that was able to penetrate our hearts, right? And help us to be better people and help us to be kinder people and help us to believe that that's also what's in the world. This book is situated like this, but instead of it being in a short picture book form, it is in a novel form, and it has so much. There's so many quotes in here that that really struck me, about Theo of Golden. And I just want to share a couple that really stood out to me. And also to another book club member had this quote stood out to her as well. Shout out Eileen if you're listening. But it says, I get it. I get it. The more convinced I am that every hurt the world has ever known is somehow the fault of every person who ever lived. And that quote really kind of shifted something in me and made me think about the way I engage with other humans and in the world differently. And another quote that's simple is, vintage is God's work. A grower can't do it. If you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I think like one of the things that I would caution people if you're coming to this work is to be mindful of how you come to it. Come to it open, come to it expectant, come to it like a child. Leave your need for maybe intense literary criticism behind. And that does not belittle this as a literary work. It doesn't. It just will position you in a place where maybe you can receive the gift that it is and then look for the more. So I think that this simple package was intentional. I think that the slow pace was intentional. Theo actually sets the pace for the reader. We don't get to impose our pace upon Theo, and that's what we see happening in this town. I think that the words are simple, what is given to us, but that doesn't mean that the depth of them or the ability to live it is simple, because we all know that the word love, we can understand it. The concept is simple. The word itself, it's 4 little letters. It's simple. It's identifiable. It has a heart as a symbol. It's simple. But we also know as human beings that in order to live out love, that's hard. That's complicated. That's layered. And that's what I think Theo of Golden is. So I really hope that people come to it with that type of mind frame. Let yourself be shifted and molded into the story without you kind of putting yourself onto the story. Sit with Theo at the bench and receive some goodness. I highly recommend that people read this book. I love to read it at nighttime. It was a great way for me to in my evenings. I found myself very emotional through, and I found myself needing to take time and to be patient with Theo in this journey and with myself in reading it. But mostly I thought about kindness in my life. And I think that that's what I really love about reading books, because I'm not just here for the characters and the plot for their world, but I'm always thinking about, what am I gleaning? What am I learning? What is this book saying to me? And how is this book making me feel? And on the inside, whenever I picked it up, the world around me just got calmer and quieter. I felt at peace. I felt more secure in Theo's presence. I loved that feeling. Also, I enjoyed getting different questions to ask people so that I can take conversations and moments deeper. And I really enjoyed what it made me think about the acts of kindness, the ways in which love can be demonstrated within the people and the circle that I move around. How sometimes sitting with someone for a little while and sharing with them what you see about them, their beauty, their worth, their uniqueness, how it can change the trajectory of a life. And it also made me remember when that has happened to me and the impact that it had on my life. So Theo is a gift. And I hope that this is a gift that you give yourself and that you give to others. And it's also a great read to read in community. One of the quotes that I wrote out says, under every single tree, there is some shade. This is shade. And I hope that I'm shade to others. And I've appreciated those trees that have provided me shade to sit under and to grow under and to get good. So treat yourself. Theo of Golden. If you've read this story, please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't read it, please gift it to yourself. You know, I don't think that you'll regret it. And I want to leave you with a Theo quote that I think I'll be using a lot in my life, which is to say, press on, seek truth, make beauty, and live well. And as always, you guys, stay reading. Bye.